In this video, I'm going to cover how to set up the Maven settings so we have access to the private GXT artifacts repo. And what that means is our repo is gated by credentials. So you have to use your GXT form credentials to get into the repo. So let's see how that translates into the Eclipse settings. So if we go to Eclipse preferences, if it's on Windows, it's Windows preferences. And we can actually look for Maven like this, and we'll select Maven, cancel, so we can see it in the main list. So here's Maven, and what we're after is user settings. And if you look in the user settings, they're going to be the default settings. And in this course or curriculum, I'm going to use the default settings for Maven. You don't have to have Maven installed on the command line. We'll do all of our command settings and running Maven in Eclipse to keep things simple. But here you go. We do have to have one file, and it'll be user setting or the settings.xml. And this is going to be in my user path in the home directory or .m2 directory in the home directory. So once we change something, we can click on update settings and it will update or refresh the Maven settings, and we can use that. I'll cover the Maven settings in more detail in the following lessons or following talks. And let's look at how that file is configured. So let's look, here's the, by the way, if the repository is where all the artifacts go, all the jars and binaries and resources will be cached in the repository. So they don't have to be downloaded every time we go ahead and do an application install. So let's look at that directory, the home directory. I already have it loaded. So if we look in the directory, and I'm not going to click on my settings because it would actually preview and show my password or secret settings. I can't give that to you. I don't think the executives would be happy if I shared my password. Okay, so but I named settings backup, and let's look at what that looks like. That file, and I'll save this, and it'll be attached to the video, so it'll either be linked down below, depending on the location this file is, or linked to the right. And go, I'm sure you can find it. You're a guru at that. So let's say we have an ID of Sencha GXT repository. This links up with the server ID and the repository tag in the pom.xml. And when we do the archetype installs in the project generation phase or talk, we'll talk about how that relates to this. But for right now, this is the server ID, and then this is my forum credentials or portal credentials, which is also the forum on Sencha. And here's my secret password that you can't see. Okay, so this is the forum credentials used for Maven to get into the gated repository. And let's just see how that translates. Let's check our credentials to start with that are here. So we're going to go to the website, and so we're going to open up the website, and we're going to go to docs.sencha.com.gxt, and then we're going to look at getting started, Maven, archetypes. Oh, no, not Maven archetypes. I was wrong. We're going to go to the GXT Maven configs. And what I have here is a Sencha artifactory link, so we'll open that up. And let's test logging in. Up at the top right is a login link, so we'll click on login and go brandon.donaldson@sencha.com, and then my secret password. If I got to remember which password I use, and hit login. Once I'm logged in, I'll just say never. Okay, so now I'm logged in. What we have here is a successful login because I can see my username is up in the top right. But before we exit, let's look at the artifacts. And this is something to be aware of. Each one of these links down below is a repository. Now I've given all the repository links and the archetype set up, and you can choose the one that's most likely to you, but most likely it's always going to be GXT commercial, GXT, where is the support? GXT support commercial release. Now let's look to see what artifacts are in this repository by just expanding it. And then we'll click on GXT. Oop, we got to expand it because it's over on the left. And you can see GXT artifacts from 302 all the way up to 402. But if you look, we don't have, oh yeah, we do have 40, 401, and 402. So 402 is the latest GXT repository or GXT version that's available in our gated repository. So now that we have, let's just do a quick summary. If we look, go back to Eclipse, so we go Eclipse, Preferences, or Window Preferences, depending, User Settings, the M2, it's the M2 Settings.xml that keeps the credentials. And if we go to that Settings Credentials, in that Settings, and I'm going to keep this file next to the video, which will be at the bottom or the right, depending on which system we're using. We have a servers tag, and for the server, we have the server ID and the brand Flake2267 and our secret password. So that's the settings configuration, which allows us to get into the private repo artifacts such as GXT402 at the time of recording this video. And that concludes this video. Stay tuned for the archetypes or installs in the future, and we'll go over that in more detail.